So I am nothing. I don't know anything. I need to work hard to not to become something, not to become something, but to stay nothing. I wrote this earlier this week and posted it on my X account. And I was inspired to write it by listening to David Goggins, where he finished the first chapter with something in the sense of, okay, then I'm just going to go back to sharpen my sword alone once again. Um, and that's not, a direct connection, but I was also inspired by Mark Manson, who said or wrote in his book that we actually don't know anything. We believe that we know a lot of things, but throughout history, we have been proved wrong all the time. And the example he gives, or I cannot remember the example, but he's like 400 years ago, people thought they knew a lot of things. And then now in our modern day, we know that a lot of these things are not true at all. So it's in the essence of we think that we are so smart and we know so many things, but maybe 400 years from now, they will look back on us and see like, holy shit, what were they stupid? They didn't know a thing about what they were doing. Um, but it's not only in the essence of that, it's also in the essence of humbling yourself. And in my case, humbling myself because um, I mean, not always, but for the last years, or I mean, I've always been smart and I've always thought about that I was always right with the things I was saying and the things I was doing was right. And some years ago, when I wanted to start helping people the way that I have helped myself growing and getting better, I really thought that I had all the answers, that I just knew uh, what people should be doing and they should just listen to me and everything would be all right. Um, Not very humbling at all. So I, started and it didn't go well because I couldn't, get the job done. And then my concussion happened, and that was really an humbling experience. Yeah, humbling experience because I was, or in truth, almost everything was taken away from me. My the things I did, how I felt, everything was just it was not gone with an instant, but slowly being stripping away from me throughout the month. And concussion, I mean, it's hard to say how long it exactly took, but I usually say 1.5 years, which sums it up pretty good. And the first months, everything just were, as I said, taken away from me slowly. My activity, my school, I couldn't see friends. I couldn't handle seeing friends or seeing anybody. I was so drained from energy all the time. I was in so much pain. Um, Headache 24/7, 365. Um, really brutal. And then there came a point where I made a very bad decision because I think it was about 2.5 months in the concussion. I was like, I cannot see people because I cannot handle see people. It drains me too much. So for about, I believe it was about 3 weeks, I almost didn't see anyone. And being in the state I was in and the pain that I was in, it was a very wrong decision from me. But I didn't see that at the time. I am usually the kind of guy who's like everything or nothing. So when I was like, okay, I can't see people, so I am not gonna see any people at all, which ended up leading me to having the worst day of my life, which was the 21st of January 2023. And it was a Saturday, and I was not good. Luckily, I have planned for my parents to come in and visit me, because I was like, during the week, you need to come and see me. I can't do this. I need some company. And on that day, I actually had my, I think you can say, first and only suicide thought this far, at least. And I'm not thinking that there's coming anyone for the rest of my life. But I was in so much pain, both mentally and physically. So I cried for most of the day. And I remember I sat on my toilet, and the thought came to me. I was like, is this really worth it? Meaning in the sense of, is life really worth this? If this is it for the rest of my life? And luckily, immediately, I shoved it away and I was like, of course it is. What are you saying? But honestly, that even just scared me more that the thought just came to my head. So I was in a really bad place. And my parents, they came and we decided, I went home to them and I stayed with them for about 2 months. I believe it was 2.5 months. Yes, 2.5 months. Yeah, about 2.5 months. I stayed with my parents because I could not take care of myself anymore. With all the state I was in, the pain and the mental distress, I started developing depression symptoms and anxiety symptoms, because which maybe not would come as a surprise, but I was all of a sudden scared of being alone after have been alone for so long. And with the experience that I had, I was like, I don't want to be alone. And that actually took me about those 2 months to getting out of that and getting back off track to myself again. And I was miserable. I was so bad. I remember about 2 weeks after I came home to my parents, I just laid on the floor in my parents' living room, the house that I grew up in, and I just cried. And my mom, she came into me and she was like, "Oh, honey," and she says, "You are so awesome and you are so cool going through this." And I just answered her back through my sobbing and my tears, "I don't feel awesome at all." Because I didn't. I honestly felt like nothing. I felt so small. I felt so weak. And I felt like a shadow of my former self. Being very active and actually quite social, which is maybe more me than I actually realize to be social, now that I see it. which I wasn't. I was, yeah, a shadow of myself. Um, yeah, bit tough topic, and I actually didn't thought it was going this way when I initially started this episode. But yeah, we're at it. So I spent those 2.5 months trying to find some anchors to hold on to keep me, uh, you know, steady mentally, I guess. And that was kind of like songs I like to hear, which I didn't anymore because sound and screens were no go for me. And I had to take breaks like every half an hour or so. I was drained all the time from energy. Um, and now that I think about it, it's actually amazing, I guess, that I have gotten back from where I've been. Actually, at the time, I rarely think about it. It's like I don't know if my mind have, you know, taken it out of my head or so, but I rarely think about that state. But I know it was there, and I know what it meant to me. It was really a shift for me in my personality, because how I see it was that from that period, from those 2 months, I mean, honestly, January and February of 2023, for me, there's like a before and after that, where the old version of me, the before concussion version of me, was not able to handle all that mental distress and physical pain and distress, which is why it ended up as it did. Uh, and afterwards, it took time building myself back. But I had a moment in late February, as I remember correctly, it was where I had this thought process in my head about, okay, I feel like shit right now. I feel terrible. And I miss the old me, many of the things I did, my friends, and how I behaved among them. And I also just looked upon a future me who were amazing and talked to girls and did a lot of cool things and so on. And then it kind of hit me. Okay, if I can imagine both who I were and who I want to be, doesn't that mean that I can be there now, even though I don't feel like being it? And then it was kind of that it all merged together. So all the things that I missed from my old self, all the things I wanted to be in the future, I was like, they can come together in the present moment. And they didn't all of a sudden, like, but the idea was shaped there. And that made a shift for me, like, okay, maybe it's actually not that bad. I mean, I was still in terrible pain. But luckily, I also started getting help. Up till that point, the first 3 months, I didn't get any help with my concussion. And looking backwards, I should have gotten help faster. Mental help, and also help to just handle the things I had to go through, which I hopefully is there's being done something about it here in Denmark. I know there are people having. Let's try once again. There are more people who are giving concussion and longer lasting concussions more attention, which it really should, because a lot of people are like just lost because of it. I was very close to just being lost, because I spoke with one of my new colleagues recently about it, and I was like, I believe that the thing that made me come out of that concussion was that I had this or it was close to be broken many times, but it didn't. I had this will which was apparently unbreakable to get back. I needed to get back to life, to my life, not to my old life. I found out during all those months, because I didn't want to go back to my old life, because I, for the majority of the time, felt like shit in my old life, and started to, and it was like kind of a restart where I could see all the things that I had done previously in my life to say, okay, what did I do? What was good? What was not good? Okay, then I'm gonna take all the good with me and leave all the bad stuff behind. And it was a hard thing to do, to make that choice, because all the bad things I did, I liked doing all those bad things, but they were in essence bad for me and not use my time. They didn't do anything good for me. So it was also a process, but at one point I was just like, I really want to be better, to grow. And at that point I was like, I really want to be something. Now I don't want to be something. I just want to, yeah, I say stay nothing. I just want to stay grounded. I think it honestly is. To stay grounded, to stay true to myself, and not become something else that I'm not. And now I actually realize that's what I mean when I say I don't do it to become something. I do it to stay nothing. I work hard to stay the way I am, but not in the essence of, no, not to stay how I am, but stay true to myself and grow myself, which is why I'm working hard. It's like coming to pieces right now. So I realized this, and it was a major step. It was like the first shift. That was really bad snap. Sorry. um, the first realization for me to get back to get better, and I did start getting better mentally. And after those about 2.5 months I stayed with my family, I started going back to my one room apartment again for periods of time. So it was, I think we started I was 1 week in my apartment, meeting friends again and talking to experts, and then I was 1 week home with my parents, in their house, where I, also spoke to them, worked together with them, and meeting family, also speaking to some experts where they lived. So I kind of have it like both places. I have spoken to so many experts who said a lot of different things to me, and it was very confusing what the hell to do, in fact, because there's not like a consensus about how to treat concussion symptoms. Also because there haven't been a lot of research on concussion, because it's such a complicated topic, damaging the brain. We don't know that much about the brain, or at least we do know about the brain, but when it comes down to it, we don't know much about the brain, which is why it's a very tough thing to get sick with, so to say. Well, I would like to say something, but now I can't remember what it was. But it's okay. I talked to a lot of experts, and it was confusing, and I had to find my kind of own way in it, how I wanted it to be. So I did, after a lot of trial and error, and looking back at it, that way I ended up doing it kept me kind of safe to steady growth. But knowing the things I do now, I should have challenged myself more. But I was afraid to challenge myself more, because I was told, be careful with what you do. Challenge yourself, but don't challenge yourself too much, in case that you will make it worse. Because I was not certain to get back from my pain. and my concussion symptoms. I was told all the time there are very good prognosis for you to get better. And then they didn't say more. And I was like, okay, so it's not certain that I will get better. And they didn't answer that. They just said there are good prognosis, or what the word is called, good statistics, maybe you could say, which was kind of hard to swallow. And it took time. It took a lot of time, almost the first year, I would say. So I really had steady growth, which was positive, at least, because when you have stagnation or negative growth, it's not positive. So slow but steady growth was positive, which was actually there all the time. It was just went really, really slow. I mean, 1.5 years. Could you imagine being with? I mean, some people do, so you could imagine, but normal people don't. So they will never. So a lot of people ask me, how was it? I always tell them, you can't imagine. You never will unless you try it yourself. And luckily, it's majority of the people will never try this. I mean, you will experience someone else in your life, but it's a minority of people. And when I talk to people who have had concussions, I'm like, yeah. And also people who've had it for only 14 or 3 weeks. And I was like, yeah, try and have that for 1.5 years. But I'm usually I actually don't talk about it much. I mention it, and if people ask into it, I will gladly talk about it. If not, I will not talk about it, because I have found out that some are not very comfortable talking about that kind of stuff, which I don't mind. I completely understand it's a tough thing to talk with a person about, a period of sickness and such sickness for so long. But some are also very opening and attended and want to listen and want to hear about it, which is nice. I would like to talk about it. But sometimes it's also not that fun for me to talk about. You heard a little bit about what I went through. That was the worst part, and it got better, but it still was difficult. I mean, I had multiple days where I was just done, where I was in so much tears, and it was brutal. And I just realized this episode actually ended up being about my concussion instead of being about what I thought it would be. But I think that's actually pretty good to see where I came from. I mean, before my concussion, I was just a regular guy doing, a lot of regular thing, partying all the time, or not all the time, but every weekend, studying, playing soccer, working out, kind of an average Joe here in Denmark, at least, a basic average Joe. And then the concussion happened. I mean, I started growth, personal growth. I started that back in 2020 when my girlfriend left me, or not when she left me. I mean, 9 months after she left me. Yeah, 9 months after that, I started my personal growth. I mean, I did work out and some kind of stuff, but it was more like mental state and how to look upon certain things. That started back in the summer 2020. And my concussion happened October 2022, late, or the end of October 2022. I mean, the 25th of October 2022, if you want to be precise. It was Tuesday. I was at soccer practice and I got an elbow right in the skull, right here. And it was like going up for a header, I think it's also called in English. And he came back from my right side and just pushed himself forward. I just got his arm right in my here. I cannot remember what this is called. At the side of my head, for those who don't watch the video. And I landed back on my feet. I didn't pass out, but I felt like my whole skull just moved to the left when he hit with that elbow. And I was like, oh, my head hurts now. But I have gotten, I mean, a lot of balls in the head, footballs. Okay, that was my own fault. But also, I mean, injured my head, or not injured, but getting my head hit and so on several times where nothing have happened. And I was like, okay, I just play along, and I could play along, nothing wrong there. And also went to a lecture or in my studies the day afterwards. The only thing I felt the day after was that I was very tired. I had to sleep 1.5 hour more than I used to, and I couldn't work out. I was too tired. But then the day after that, which was the first day, I could feel something's not right. And I was like, okay, this might be a concussion. And I was right. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history, I guess, which you don't know about. I might tell it more in detail. It could be fun to do a concussion series, doing it maybe a month for month and so on, to really get into detail, because a lot of things happen. And I've written down a lot of things. I had some notebooks where I wrote down days and also what I had to do during the days, and also just notes of thoughts and things that I, thought about. And I had to remember, and current thoughts and so on. And they could be, I mean, I know a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure there's also a lot of things I can't remember from them. So it could be fun to revisit them sometime. It's not going to be now. I don't have time for that. But yeah, maybe down the line. So yeah, this ended up being a concussion episode. I would have liked to touch upon more about the philosophy of not being nothing. I think let's just end with that, because I think it's pretty strong to have that idea that you are actually nothing. Because what it also does, it doesn't held you back from any expectations. Because I feel like that we in our modern society have these expectations that we should be everything. We should be perfect. We should be good at everything and do everything, and everything just have to happen like immediately. I'm not gonna snap again because that went terrible last time. So I think that having this idea and this mentality, this philosophy to be nothing and to stay nothing, take away a lot of expectations so you can just do whatever you want to do. Because that's actually what matters. What doesn't matter is how many money you make or how much status you have, who you are dating, who your friends are, who your family are. What you do does matter. I'm not gonna lie. But not in the essence of status and so on. It matters to your well-being, the habits you do, and what you will achieve. And what you will achieve should be for like your own sake. It should not be that you want to, let me tell you what I want. In essence, I want to grow as a human being. I want to grow. I want to become better. I've said this before, for my own sake, because I want to see what I can do. I want to see my own limits. Mostly for the mental part, because it's very strong. I have grown a lot, and I have never had as much confidence as I have. As I have right now. And I see that talking to people very easily and talking to pretty girls as well pretty easily. I can flirt. I have never been able to flirt before. I think I can flirt because my INTJ brain is like, is this flirting? I think it is. And what I want to do with it as well is that I want to share my experience and share the things that I have learned to help other people. And I mentioned the guy who wrote a negative comment. I don't remember if it was last episode or previous episode, but he wrote it on Danish, so I will do my best to translate it. He wrote, "Getting rich scheme. The quickest way to get rich is to give vague motivation advices on the internet." And then he was like, "Dude, the motivational guru market is already full. You should do something meaningful to society instead." That was what he wrote. That was not very fun to read in the beginning. But really quickly I realized he don't get it. He don't see why I do this, which it was, after I saw that, I very easily could just push it away, because his opinion don't matter to me, because he doesn't see it. He doesn't see why I actually do it. I do this because I want to help people. I don't do this because I want to make money. The essence of me sharing what I do is to help people. If I can help just one person becoming better and have a better day, I'm actually getting a bit emotional by. If I can only do that, I will be so happy and so glad, because I realized during my concussion that helping others and being there for others is the essence of life. It's not money, it's not status, it's not fame. It's being there for others and helping others. And standing shoulder to shoulder, which is a thing from my work, which is very funny right now. To be there for others, be there for your friends and your family as much as they would like you to be. But also be there for strangers and people you don't know, because it's in solidarity that we thrive as species, and not, was that right? I hope it was. We thrive in communities. We thrive in company. We don't thrive very well alone. I've realized the hard way. And I really want to help other people, because I think that's so meaningful. And I have had so much trouble in my life finding meaning to what should I do and why should I do it. I have purpose now, and I feel so much meaning in my life. So first of all, I want to grow as a person, and that journey never ends. And the second is, I want to help other people grow as well as human beings. And that gives me so much meaning and so much purpose. And I am so thrilled to be able to, first of all, grow. I grow a lot through my work. It's crazy. I don't earn very good money, but I grow so much, which is why I do it, which is why I love it. I don't care about the money. I earn enough to live, to get by, which is good for me. And then I can grow so much, so quickly. I've only been there for like not even 1.5 months, and I've already grown so much. And then I am also able to share not what I learned from work, but what I learned in general, my thoughts and my feelings also recently, via this podcast, and via to share it through social media, which is also something I really enjoy and I think is very nice. And I am a bit sad that I don't have more time to it, but right now I have to put the time into work because it's needed, and also because I like it. I actually thought I wouldn't enjoy it as much as I do, but I really do, even though it's only cleaning and helping members. But the people I work with and the people who are in the gyms are so nice. And running around, cleaning, and just, I don't know why. It fires me up so much. I think I know why. Because I've read in a book that testosterone levels increases through activity, and I am so active. I work out 6 days a week. I bike to everything here in Copenhagen, the city of biking. And I run. I don't run at my work, but I clean and I do it very hard work for like 6 to 8 hours, not a day, but multiple days a week. I mean, the majority days of the week. I have been working, 7. This is my first day off. Before that, I worked 7 days in a row. And I'm recording this Friday, and the last episode also recorded Friday, and I haven't had time in between because I have been working every day. So I enjoy it. I do, but it's also, I need to take care of myself as well, not to get burned out, which is why I was also asked if I could take a shift in another gym today. I was like, I want to, but I have to have this day off and also the day tomorrow because I have plans. So I can't, unfortunately. And he was like, and I also mentioned I have been working for 7 days straight. And he was like, okay, understandable. So I think what I'm trying to say with this is that I'm in a really good spot right now. I like where I am. Honestly, for the first time in my life, I like where I am and I like what I'm doing. And I wish I had more time and energy to do what I do. Both work and this. And I know I've said that it's just about prioritization, but I'm also just very tired from work. Not, tired of doing it, tired, oh man, I don't want to work, but tired, physical tired after being so active all day. But I also feel that my stamina is increasing from week to week, which is good, because I need it. What I would mention with this is I think I enjoy it so much because activity fosters testosterone, and testosterone levels increases from activity. And I gotta tell you, I actually feel that. And I also feel the things that lowers testosterone level. How my mood changes, I get in a worse mood. I don't have as much energy. I'm not as confident as I am at work and cleaning, all that stuff, being so much active. I really feel a difference. And you might not believe it, but I do. And the way I also feel a difference from eating sugary food to not eating sugary food. I feel like shit after eating sugary food. It's awful. It's crazy. I hate it. And how I am able to feel that is because during my concussion, I really got a good feeling of my body and my mood because I didn't have anything else to do. And I was told, feel yourself. And I have never felt myself before, but I had to because I couldn't do anything. So I did. And I've learned to feel myself very well, in my body, how I feel and how certain things affect my body, which is also why I'm so much against sugary foods. I mean, I eat them. It's not that I don't eat them at all, but I do eat them. And every time I don't regret eating them, but I always feel awful when I eat them, which is why I rarely do. I only do it when I'm in company with friends and family. And even there, I might only eat like one bit or one piece because I'm like, I'm good. No, thank you. Because I seriously, I don't want to. I hate it. I hate how it makes me feel. It's disgusting. And in truth, when you haven't eating sugary foods for a long period of time, they don't taste as good anymore as they used to. It doesn't. I know when I see a cake, I mean, oh, that looks pretty nice, but I do know it doesn't taste as nice as it looks, because I always get disappointed every time I take a piece of candy, a piece of cake, some chocolate. I'm always like, this is not as good as I thought it would be. And that's amazing, because then I'm not eating it. But I just, man, some of the fruit I'm eating, I cannot remember I think it's called pomelo, or in Spanish, I think it's pomelo granada. This, no, I can't explain it, but no, it's not cranberry. It's not that either. I cannot remember the name, but they're like little red berries, I think, seeds maybe more, which are so juicy and they taste amazing. And I have been talking too much. I'm at 40 minutes now, the longest episode ever. So what I'm trying to say to end this is that I am just trying to find my way in life, to live life as meaningful and purposeful as possible, and as not as happy as I can, because that's illusion. To live happily ever after, that's not gonna happen. But to live it as inspired as possible, to work, to put the work in at my work and in my spare time, so that I can grow, because I want that. And I want to be inspired to grow, and I want to inspire other people to grow. And I want to help other people to grow, because it's amazing. You should grow. Do it. And a short, I don't know what's called, a short story here at the end is that I worked with a girl for the first time 3 days ago. And there's nothing between us, because she has a boyfriend, but we just ended up talking very well. And I talked a lot about the things that I enjoy. I mean, we had a good band, and we talked the gods a lot. We talked good with each other. So I just talked about, I work out 7 a.m. I eat very healthy, because she was interested and she had tried some things herself. And I actually think that I might have inspired her, because I've talked with her afterwards, because we were working together again. And she was like, man, I was early up yesterday, and I've been trying to do this, and I didn't. And I was, okay, I might have inspired her. And she actually wants to work out with me at 7 a.m. next week. So we're gonna plan that, see how that goes. I think it's gonna be super fun, because as I can tell, she might not be. She says she is not into resistance training. She is into other kinds of exercise, which I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try CrossFit for the first time with her, which is gonna be exciting, I think. I don't know. But it's gonna be fun putting her through my program, one of my push, pull, or legs programs. It's gonna be fun. So that's the little story that I hope I have inspired her. I think I have, and I would like to inspire other people as well. So if you are still here after 45 minutes almost, I really appreciate it. I do. You don't know how much it means to me if you listen to all of this banter I have. It was a tough episode without I even tried it to be. It was not my intention to go so deep into my concussion, but I did. And it actually felt great talking about it. I know it's kind of a hard topic to sit and listen to as well, the detail as I told it. But it's the truth. That's what happened. And I didn't thought I would talk about it so openly, because it has actually been a very difficult time for me, the most difficult time in my life. And as I said, the worst day I had. but it was good. And I hope that you got some out of it. You've learned me better, why I do what I do. And I'm going to end this episode now because it's been too long. So have a good one. Until next time.